Hello, everybody. There is an interesting question in the students and followers of Kashka Sangyatso group about lineage of the new Kadampa tradition. The question says, looking at the lineage of our tradition and how Geshe became a spiritual teacher, after studying for many years under his spiritual guide, why does the lineage end with Geshe? Many teachers, such as Genla Dekyong, studied directly with Geshe for many years, and yet no one is continuing the lineage. I know that we have Geshe's books, and I'm really grateful for our study programs, but it seems strange that the lineage seems to end. I kind of agree with this poster in the group. There is no lineage holder at the moment in the NKT, and even this statement that Genla Dekyong studied directly under Geshe is apparently not true, allegedly not true, as one of our members in our group testified to this, who knew Genla Dekyong back then, and who knew that she wasn't actually a direct student of Kelsang Gyatso in the beginning. But let's see a little bit of this issue of lineage and what this actually means in Tibetan Buddhism and what the situation is in the NKT in this regard. Well, first off, lineage in Tibetan Buddhism emphasizes the importance of continuity. This is actually what the word means, and authentic transmission of teachings. And that teaching, that transmission is going to be done by the teacher, so there's got to be a deep and important connection between the teacher and the student. That deep and important connection is fundamental for maintaining the richness of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So lineage is primarily passed through the direct relationship between student and teacher. A teacher receives the teachings, the transmissions, initiations, and guidance from the teacher and develops a strong bond and trust and respect for the teacher. So then it begs the question, what is the student-teacher relationship like in the NKT? The Guru Kelsang Gyatso had been missing for 13 years before he died in 2022, with no official information given about his whereabouts or well-being during this entire time. His death was only reported days after his death, when someone in the new Kadampa Tradition group boasted about a rumor regarding his passing. There was no public farewell ceremony or funeral rituals, tukdam, or extended period of mourning, as is customary in the Gelug tradition. His death was hardly even reported at first, and no details were given, and later on conflicted details were given about his death, time of death, and the way his body was dispensed with. At the time, some of us in the group were doing some snooping around, and I actually wrote to the funeral director where he was cremated, who told us that Kelsang Gyatso's body was accompanied by one ordained person, a nun. Only one person accompanied him to the crematorium. Kelsang Guru in his lifetime was mostly unavailable for his students. Before he was made to disappear, he gave formal teachings only for a while and on rare occasions, and even then his English was hardly comprehensible for most people. Many report seeing him for a fleeting moment in the corridors of Manjushri. Having an audience with him was difficult to obtain, and these audiences were often very short and often actually meaningless. The potential purported niche holders, his hard students, we're talking about two monks, I'm not going to name names right now, but these people were discovered to have committed sexual abuse and moral misconduct. The vast majority of the old guard NKT never had any kind of relationship with Kelsang Gyatso, while as the new people now, they never actually met him because, he's been long gone by the time they joined the NKT. I suppose this is why these slogans like Geshe is in your heart, I'll always be with you, the book is the teacher, Geshe says, these need to be pushed down people's throats at every moment in the NKT because there is no actual guru or lineage holder in the organization. Another issue with the teachers in the NKT that I posted about under hashtag disappearing teachers in the NKT is purported spiritual guides who tend to disappear or be moved from one part of the world to the other from one day to next without explanation or notice. What is behind these actions, removing a Sangha's trusted spiritual guide without any forewarning or any explanation, if the student-teacher relationship is so important from a lineage point of view? Normally, there is some sort of a moral misconduct, sexual abuse, harassment, or other problem is in the background, or simply the teacher is not making enough money for the center. Sometimes entire centers, entire sanghas can be closed down from one day to the next, like it happened in Italy, where I live. After COVID, suddenly all of the centers from Italy were gone. Entire groups of people losing not only their spiritual communities and guides, but also their resource investment they put into those centers and guides. A prime example, again, is what happened here, but there are many other centers that we know about that were just closed down from one day to next. Lineage includes not just the teachings themselves and the authentic spiritual guides who transmit those teachings, but also the ethical and behavior standards maintained within the lineage. Currently, there is no formal and well-functioning mechanism in place in the NKT that would ensure that overreach, abuse, moral misconduct, volunteer exploitation, emotional coercion, harassment, and so on are prevented and/or addressed and effectively dealt with. What we currently have in the NKT is whitewashing, denying, lying, quietism, censorship, ignoring, and sweeping under the carpet. There is no hope for any sort of a lineage under these conditions, in my opinion. For an authentic lineage, it's necessary that certain individuals are recognized as lineage holders who have preserved and protected the teachings over generations. They typically have attained a high level of realization and are responsible for passing on the teachings authentically. I suppose in the NKT, those would be the senior ordained members, such as Dekyung or Khenrab. Not Lobsang, because, he's out of the picture right now for alleged sexual stuff, and maybe some others. Based on their past and present actions that I have seen and the teachings that they have given, I personally have my doubts regarding their levels of realization and their suitability to be authentic and reliable lineage holders. So, my heart goes out to this NKT practitioner who's worried about the lineage of the NKT. There never has been a lineage, and there never will be. Lineage must be recognized by others in the wider Buddhist community as well. Khalsa Gyatso is only recognized by most as the rogue Lama who humiliated the Dalai Lama, and the NKT is widely considered a runaway sect. In Tibetan Buddhist culture, lineage is highly respected, and students often choose teachers based on the lineage connections. There are no such connections in the NKT, as it has totally cut its ties with those connections and isolated itself. Searching for those connections is actively discouraged in the NKT as well, as it is considered mixing tradition, by which the individual will get confused. By creating modern Buddhism, whatever that means, Khalsa Gyatso essentially made sure that there is no lineage or tradition, only in mere name. Well, as the saying goes, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Thank you for your attention. Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to like and maybe share this video. Thank you.